Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time-travelling toy collector, and this is the next instalment in my video exploration of the Transformers Legacy United Autobots Stand 5-pack figure release, which consists of Jazz, Sunstreaker, Wheeljack, Trailbreaker, and Hound. This video, we're looking at Wheeljack. Now, Wheeljack has had a few releases with this mold. I'm one of those possibly minority people who never had a copy of this this mold in a previous existence. Maybe I might try and see if I can track it down, because I've seen some of the comparisons, and actually I think they both look pretty good in their own unique way. So I think it's a War for Cybertron version that's a slightly off-white colour with a lot more decals, whereas this version from the Legacy line is perceived to be more cartoon accurate, as indeed they all are, which sort of puts them in the Studio Series 86 classification, even though they are appearing as Transformers Legacy United figures. And more on that when we cover Hound in his standalone. But yep, so here he is. Here is the man of the moment. It's Wheeljack, surrounded by his Autobot colleagues from the 5-pack. And before I go any further, well, I just like to say the thing that most people say at the end of the video, and that's if you could drop us a like right now, that would be amazing for the channel and the algorithm, and of course ultimately for me. Doesn't cost anything, and it just shows your appreciation, and my goodness me, I will show my appreciation. I'm very, very grateful. And similarly, whilst you're down there, why not subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future upcoming video of some of your favourite toys, models, collectibles, games, and so forth. Anyway, enough self-promotion, hideous that it is. Let's get back to the main man, and that is Wheeljack. So here he is, and again, as I say, he's already been released in this model before, but this is more cartoon accurate colouring. And also, like all the figures, the windscreens and what has previously been sort of risky translucent plastic has been replaced with painted plastic, and you know, so we have the blue on his chest rather than anything translucent. Let's get in a bit closer so we can have a really nice look at Wheeljack. So he has a very toon accurate and indeed toy accurate, G1 toy accurate head sculpt there, I would say. A combination of the two doing really nicely. He's got those wings at the back, which are reminiscent of the ones we saw in the Wheeljack Origins release. Lovely Autobot symbol at the front, obviously no rub sign. This is, I think, reminiscent of his old G1 blaster, but I never had Wheeljack. I never had any of the Autobots, aside from Jazz, who was a late addition, in their G1 forms, because I didn't collect the majority of the Autobot warriors as the car robots. But that's a story for another video, and I have told it before. So if you do watch the other videos in this playlist, you'll hear that, or have already heard it, so I won't bore you again. But I really like the detailing on this figure, and I would say one of the things I think is really notable about this sort of direction of Transformers figures is they are much more action figure orientated. Certainly some of the complaints I would have had, and did have to be fair, around some of those early figures was that they were very static. They didn't have many points, if any points of articulation. I know we've covered this, and many people have covered this in their videos, but it really does stand out to me just how articulated these figures are now, with you know, ankle pivots, thigh rotations, knee bends. This is quite a stiff figure actually, so I nearly came a cropper there. But you know, they're so articulated, very poseable, very good for toy photography, whilst managing to do that most remarkable thing of combining the engineering we always wished we had as children with how they kind of appeared both in their original toy form, but also on the screen, which is where a lot of our imaginations were stimulated and generated from. So I'm really, really happy with how all of these have turned out. They do all look very much, let me just pull out slightly so we can get back to seeing all of our friends there. They really do look how I remember them from the cartoon, and how my imagination chooses to remember them as the toys of the past, which, as I say, barring G1 Jazz, I never actually had. So I'm really happy with how this turns out. He does look very white, which again is, you know, very, very good for the cartoon. But you can already see there is a bit of a lack of, what's the best way of putting it? Well, decals, you know, surface detail. But the other surface detail is excellent. And again, along with his articulation, this makes Wheeljack, along with the others in this set, a really good, very poseable, and you know, a hugely fun figure to have in your collection. I'm now going to transform him. I'm going to do that off screen because sometimes it goes really well for me, sometimes it goes really badly for me. Either way, I don't want to subject you to what may or may not happen, but I will come straight back with him in his alternate mode and tell you how easy or otherwise the transformation actually is. In the time it takes me to transition from this to that, again, just a reminder to hit that like button and subscribe, unless you've already done both of those, in which case don't do it again or you'll undo it, and that'd be a nightmare. All right, take care, and I'll see you in a flash. And here we are, back again for more, with Wheeljack all nicely transformed up. Well, I say that. There's a couple of sticking points. One is I can't seem to get this canopy to stay in place. I don't know what, if anything, I've done wrong. Because when it does sit nicely, it looks really good. But when it doesn't, it's a real pain. Again, it's a very nice, very clean transformation. I did have a nightmare, I won't lie. It took way longer than I anticipated, and I'll tell you about what caused that in a second. I've attached his little weapon here on the top. Obviously you don't need to, and there's his only Autobot insignia slap bang there on the roof. Now, I like the whiteness here. I think it looks really clean. There you can see the underside. I think it looks really clean. I really, really like it. I can, however, understand, particularly if you had the original, which was drenched in stickers, much like Jazz, it does look a bit bare. But I do like the overall whiteness of it. There is something about it that I think is terribly clean. Let's just pop this back on there. Terribly clean, and, well, all I can say is I like it. But I imagine that is one of those personal preferences. The wheels are very nicely done. They all roll independently, and they roll very, very easily. Not so great on here, but they do what they are supposed to do as wheels. Yes, you probably would, you know, well, I say you, some people may probably like a few more decals. You can pick those up from Toy Hacks and other places, I'm sure. I quite like this. If I want one that's all decoed up, I might try and get that War for Cybertron version just to have it in the arsenal. But otherwise, I think he's a really nice, clean, and G1 faithful-ish version of this. That really is annoying me, but I'm going to have to let it go. I like the nice detailing. There is silver underneath the spoiler. Might have been nice if there'd been a splash of that elsewhere. But yeah, otherwise he is as you see him. The leg transformations, which form the front part, I had a real problem with, to the point where I had to get some pliers out, and that still didn't work. The joint, the hip joint of his, well, technically his right leg, but left as you're looking at it, is too stiff to rotate, so I can't get any upwards kick on it. I mentioned earlier that they were quite stiff. It's too stiff. It will not move, and I could feel the joint starting to go. I took the bottom of the leg off to see if I could get more purchase that way. None of it worked, and I thought I was actually have to come back and say, disaster, folks. I could not transform him. Then I thought, well, let's see if I can do the leg transformation without getting them out of the way, because basically you bend them down in order to complete the transformation. If you watch anybody else's tutorials, you'll see what I mean. But mine would not let me do that. So I did the transformation without bending them down, because I looked through the instructions, and you do ultimately have to bend them back up again into place. And I'm wondering if that's what's caused this, but the logic of it currently escapes me. So yeah, so that was a bit of a drama, and I was very worried that I wasn't going to be able to transform him, or I was going to break him in the process. But yeah, so as a quick transformation hack, just in case you do find yourself with a stiff jointed Wheeljack, I was able to fold up the legs and close them in without having to do the downward bend. It was trickier, but it was doable. So I'm kind of grateful for that, because I didn't really want to have my nice, very expensive, technically speaking, Wheeljack in pieces the first time I ever transformed him. So, did you pick up the 5-pack, the Autobots Stand Legacy United Toon Accurate decals? I mean, I think I really like these guys. I like how they look together, and I will probably do some sort of summary video once I've completed my walkthrough of all 5, which means after this we only have Hound left to cover. Please join me for the last one. If you haven't seen the others, there is a playlist. You can check out all of the Legacy United Autobots Stand playlist and all of my other Transformers appreciations as well, not to mention Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, G.I. Joe, Doctor Who, all manner of stuff. There's so much. Anyway, have a little shifty around the channel. I'm sure you'll find something that you like. You've been a fantastic audience. I have been the Triple TC, that is the Time Travelling Toy Collector. And this has been a focus on Wheeljack as part of the Legacy United 5-pack Autobot Stands figures from Hasbro. I look very much to seeing you in the future, or indeed a past video. It just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.